That's the thing about court, man. Everybody gets a turn, and UMG just took their turn. They hit crazy. They hit real, real crazy. Lucian Grange himself writing a letter to the court in response to Drake's last motion, as well as his legal counsel, attacking all the broad reasons why Drake is looking for certain things in his discovery. Man, it's like when Drake had that response, or when he went for all those discovery items, and he was talking about he's looking for Dave Free and Kendrick Lamar's child, communications between them and Lucian Grange and you and it was just like, yo, he's going crazy. But they turned back around just now. UMG, it's gonna be back and forth, man. This might be the big or the most money involved case that we cover in 2025, right? Not saying the biggest case or the biggest law, like Shannon Sharp, right? Um, 10 million, 20 million, no, 50 million, right? This one, there's hundreds of millions of dollars involved, hundreds of millions of dollars. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear numbers like, let's say, 5, 6, 700 million if Drake was, and then on top of that, even the future losses that he'd be able to claim in damages. But we're gonna read the paperwork. We're gonna look over all of this, these last two big updates. Take a look at this. You see the title: UMG exposes Drake's hidden agenda in court response. What else do we got today? We got a lot of news. We got a lot of stuff to catch up on. After this, we're gonna go to little Yachty. You know, you've seen him and Steven Jack get into it over George Floyd. I'm gonna bring that up. There's also an update to that. Charleston White, of course, jumped in on that one as well. We'll play it just for context. Why not? But then we'll also get to the conclusion. Julio Foolio. Okay, the alleged shooters involved in his situation, they're in court. One of the girlfriends that also is one of the co-defendants. Is she gonna tell? Is she gonna take a plea? What's going on with her? There's a big situation involved, and will they allow her domestic dispute with her boyfriend that was an alleged co-defendant come into play here as far as her involvement? I don't know about that. That's a new defense right there. Got this thing called premeditated though, right? We'll see. What else do we got? What else do we got? We got a Diddy update with Shorty from Making the Band, their court case. Take a look at where that went. See, I got Rick Ross in the thumbnail. That's really for his BM. I'm gonna tell you not just an update between them and their recent legal battle, but also how I feel about her. Let's do it. What else do we got here? Oh, we have an update in T Hood's shooting. The T Hood update is we might have to spend a minute on that one. I ain't gonna lie to you. Oh man, we got some Fat Joe. That's a comical one. No, I ain't gonna lie. Nothing crazy there, but gotta stay up to speed on what's going on with Fat Joe. We got the finesse two-time situation with him and his mother, and Hustle Cartel came into play. Super disrespectful. Well, based on how you interpret it. I got Karl Malone back here. I got Wack 100. I got OTF Doodie Low. We got Metro Boomin. We got some No Jumper. We got an update as it pertains to William McNeil, the guy that his footage went viral, sitting in his car, and the police officers, they cracked through his window, one punched him in the face, yanked him out, hit him again, threw him on the floor, handcuffed him. We covered that when it first hit the internet. We also covered it when additional footage came out. Now we have a closeout. Okay. So I've been away for the last 2 days. So that's why we have so many topics that I want to catch up from the last 48 hours, so to speak, as well as current stuff. I'm pretty sure by the time I catch up with checks and balances, there's a million things in there as well. So tomorrow might be a long stream as well. But yeah, that's why we got so many things I want to touch on. Some of them, especially the second half of the stream, I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. These first ones we'll lay on a little bit, get a little bit more details on those. We'll see. All right. Where I was though, thank you to everybody touching base. I got DMs, I got tweets. I see ARP, where we at, what's going on, where's the stream at? It's 6 o'clock as far as Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. I had to fly back home. We had a loss, friend, very, 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 very close friend of the family, and lost a long health battle. Something that this person was going through for quite some time. Very, very strong battle. though, and I credit the person and their family for the amount of strength that they endured throughout this whole process. But a bunch of us behind the scenes, a bunch of friends and family, we knew it was coming, right? We knew it was coming months ago. So the time came, and I knew, along with other people, we knew that when that time comes, when those text messages hit, when those phone calls come in, we gotta stop what we're doing, book these flights, and get out there. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was at for the last 2 days. Um, Shout out to my brothers AB and Drew, man. I love y'all. I'll see y'all soon. See y'all soon. See y'all probably in a couple weeks or so. But everything is as good as it can be. The most affected, I would say, the people closest, like brothers, and they're doing pretty well, very strong. We went out after the viewing to a local little lounge. Just everybody moved together. A bunch of us, and I got to look around and see, a couple people smiling and laughing, having drinks, and letting their hair down a little bit, and that's always a beautiful thing. So everybody's solid. Everybody's solid. So I appreciate some of the condolences. I don't really be telling people when I'm away. If the stream isn't on that day, I'm a 7 day a week guy. So if I'm not here, it means, once again, either I went away, it could be a vacation, it could be somewhere else I had to go, or something important or something critical. Like every once in a while, I have things that come up early in the morning as well. It doesn't mean that I'm on vacation or something like that. It could just be like, oh shit, I got to be somewhere 7 a.m. in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So it happens. It happens. But I normally don't tell the internet where I am. I say things like normally when I get back. I'll be dropping lows like that. Somebody tweeted. Matter of fact, I'll retweet you right now, homie. Somebody tweeted me on Twitter while I was in the airport ready to leave, and he tweeted me. I think I just saw ARP in the airport while I was getting on the airport train, and I didn't retweet it or reply. I was just like, "Oh, nah, you dropping lows, dog." Like that's just how I am. But yeah, we back to work right now, y'all. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Other than that, before we get into the stream, yeah, shout out to Cal Capone. Where you at this morning, homie? Yeah, I see everybody on the Twitter. I see y'all. I see y'all. I appreciate y'all. But real quick, also before we start, another cool thing about this trip where we had to get together for the supporting of a loss. I was able to move around for a little bit. I had some time. I stayed in 6 different homes when I lived in Staten Island, right? The first two, well, yeah, the first two is when my parents were still together. So I was too young to even remember a lot of shit. That was in Staten Island, New Brighton, for my Staten Islanders, right? I was still a baby, damn near, right? Can't claim New Brighton. After that, me and my mom's moved in on the second floor with my aunt. That's the third crib that I stayed at. I got to visit that crib, visit that block. Got a bunch of old friends and family from that way. After that, I spun by a townhouse that my mom was able to buy. My mom came up, single mom, and she put in that work, and she was able to land herself a mortgage, got us in a 2 bedroom, single family attached townhouse in Port Richmond area. So I stopped by there. That was dope. Um, Area is still a little run down. I went by my old high school. Uh, in the last 2 cribs that I stayed in Staten Island, I went to one of them because that was the crib that I first bought for myself. That was a 2 bedroom little come up, but it was out the way. It was like in the sticks. You know what I'm saying? It was all the way in like the white neighborhoods and shit. So I stopped by there, and even that's ran down now. And it's not, the neighborhood demographic isn't too bad or nothing like that. I don't know, but it just looked ran down. I'm just like, damn, like New York, I just ran out of places to build, and it's just a bunch of old, like Staten Island's like all I saw was just old properties crumbling down, and shit. I was just like, damn. Some of y'all need to either find the nicer hoods or get the fuck out of there, man. Get the fuck out of there. But Staten Island is still Staten Island, man. I'm probably gonna put 1 or 2 of those videos up of like me walking around visiting some places, a home and whatnot. But kind of that nostalgic feel. You know what I'm saying? Got to bump into a couple people, see some people, so it was dope. But overall, all right, we back. Y'all ready to get into some of the news? Thank you, Twiz. I appreciate you. Yes, happy Saturday, people. I see facts in the building. Always a tough hit to deal with, even when you know it's coming. Yeah, it lightens the blow a little bit. Losses are tough. Period. Nope. I'm telling you, picking up the phone call to some like random news is the worst. But when you know it's coming, it helps. It helps a little bit. And I did catch up on some of your content when I was in the airport. I watched the clip that you got with you and Rex. I don't think you got the full video out. You probably got it on members only. And I watched you and Sirius Jones. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Just leave it there. Thank you once again. Thank you, people. Appreciate y'all. Uh, and I'm gonna take all of this. I was in there crying. Um, I walked up to support my brother, and then I gave like a, you know, 45-second little, because they asked people to come up and talk, and I was crying during it. Like I couldn't hold it back. I was like, oh man, like I was crying as I was walking up there because I have not only is it the loss of it and the situation, but I have a personal tie to it as well. That it's just like I live with it day to day. So it hit real close to home for me for multiple reasons. You know what I'm saying? So I was up there crying, B. I was talking and I was crying. I couldn't hold it in, B. I might have cried the most out of everybody in there as far as that spoke, but it was good to see the love from everybody. So thank you, everybody. But it was more so for AB once again, Drew, the youngest sister, Miss Darlene, AB Senior, all y'all, man. Condolences once again. We love y'all. All right, y'all ready to get to work? I gave y'all a long intro, 11 minutes in. Y'all know we don't do that these days. Normally, we anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 or 2 minutes, we work it, right? But I was away, so long intro. Let's get to work now. I appreciate y'all. See y'all in the chat. Thank you. All right, let's get to work. Hey Drake. So that discovery motion that Drake went for earlier this week when he said, listen, Lucian Grange, I also need any communications improved for dealings or anything between you and Kendrick Lamar around day free, possibly fathering Kendrick's children. What? What the? And how about this? I also want information or anything that you knew about as it pertains to Kendrick Lamar and his domestic disputes allegedly with his wife or his girl. So he's like, okay, tactically, we see what he's doing. He asked for a lot of stuff from UMG, a lot of stuff from Lucian Grange directly as well. And the clapbacks thus far in this whole lawsuit from UMG and from Lucian have always been strong as shit. And here we have the latest clapback in response. So first, we're going to go over Lucian Grange's actual note himself. He's running a multi-billion-dollar company. He comes down from his clouds and says, hey, lawyer, step aside for a second. Let me write this little this little response as well. So you got Aubrey Drake Graham versus UMG. Declaration of Sir Lucian Grange. Okay. 1, I am chairman and CEO of Universal Music Group, which is the indirect parent corporation of Defendant UMG Recordings Incorporated, UMG. Plaintiff Aubrey Drake Graham, Drake, claims that I was behind the scheme to devalue his brand through the release and promotion of the Kendrick Lamar recording Not Like Us, an allegation that makes no sense due to the fact that the company that I run, Universal Music Group, has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in Drake, including longstanding and critical financial support for his recording career, the purchase and ownership of the bulk of his recording catalog, and the purchase of his music publishing rights. Pretty much saying, I own this guy. Everything that he generates makes me tons of money. You guys know who Drake is, right? We're calling him the modern day Mike Jack, numbers wise and everything, right? Well, behind the scenes, whether you guys know it or not, I own all that shit. Why do you think I advanced him $400 million? Could that happen in battle rap more? Like a line up to that level? I hate, not if I'm paying him that much. No, it's impossible in all battle rap. Yeah. Like nobody can, like, let's say a big check in battle rap is 100 grand, 150 grand, 200 grand, 250, 300, whatever. Let's say a range from 100 to 400. That's the biggest checks to ever come out of battle rap. Let's say for one given event or one given artist, right? Let's just say that hypothetically. Okay. So if somebody's being paid that fucking much, the league owner is not lining them up. They're not booking them in a battle where they're praying and praying that they fucking lose. Because if I can pay you, battle rapper, Hitman, Loaded Lux, Cassidy, Murder Mook, if I'm gonna pay you $250,000 for this rap battle, if you win, the comeback for both of us, okay? After Murder Mook battled Averb, a lot of people say that Averb won that battle. I'm not even talking about fast forward as the battle ages. I'm saying in that moment, there was chance in the building. I'd never agree with the 3-0 chance, but there was chance in the building. It was the underdog Averb facing the return of Murder Mook. You know what I'm saying? And even though there's a bunch of people that gave it to Averb at that moment, me and Mook still went right back into negotiations. Straight into negotiations, okay? And then what happened there? You start seeing Hollow post things on his Twitter talking about somebody paid me $25,000 to not battle Mook on RBE, blah, blah, blah. But we went right back into negotiations, okay? I'll give you another example of that. It's similar. Even somebody that the culture at that moment says that they may have lost. Hitman versus Cassidy, okay? Hitman versus Cassidy goes down, Max out 1. We set the world on fire. We had viral nature, the door, the moment, the aftermath, the energy, the viralness of it, the numbers, the metrics, the trending, the money, everything. And what I do, I went right back into negotiations with both of them. Cassidy, hey, let's have this conversation about Charlie Clips. And ironically, once again, you guys hear a story about that. Oh, wait. I get this phone call, throw a kitchen sink at him. I want you to battle Freeway, which is a battle that never happens. What is this fucking... Is there a trend here? Maybe not, allegedly. But anyway, so me and Cassidy don't do the Clips battle. I wish we would have, because he ended up not battling for like the next 2-3 years then. Should have stayed home, Cass. Nah, that's my nigga. And then after that, my negotiations also with Hitman was for Briz. Okay? Was it for Briz at that one? No, my bad. It was for Mook. I'm bugging out. That was Max out 1. It was for Mook. Mook and Hitman, whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? The contracts went out, but whatever happens, happens. The battle doesn't take place. And then it's like, yo, Hitman, let's do something else. Let's do Calico. Now, y'all said Mook lost the verb, and I said, it's okay, Mook, I got more money for you. Y'all say Cassidy beat Hitman in that moment because y'all expected Hitman to drag him around on a big stage, and Cassidy had to date his best performance right there in front of Hitman that he had so far since his return. And I still said, Hitman, you ready? I got more money, his contract, I got more money for you for Calico. Because the business of it. So I don't want you up there especially if we got a personal rapport, but then even at a business level, I don't want you losing or getting fucked over if we making UMG money together. Like it don't make no fucking sense. So I'm mixing that little battle rap piece for y'all. So, all right. That was a very, very smart reminder from Lucian to put out there. It also makes no sense whatsoever as I run a publicly traded multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation whose operation is over 60 countries covering nearly 200 markets ultimately report up to me. He's stunting, but it's facts is facts. Remember who I am, all right? I'm here. Drake is here. Remember who you're talking to. The guy that when Kanye does his interview saying, oh, Drake got a rich baby daddy named Lucian. The devil. I'm the guy up there that you guys now know my name, but I'm the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. That's me. All right, Drake is my worker. I'm doing all this, running a multi-billion-dollar situation. Okay. I even got to do more work than Drake. Drake's running around with girls. I almost said, look, he running around with these girls and all this shit, bullshit and DMing people. I don't got time for that shit that Drake is doing. I don't get to party like him. Our business encompasses over 100 record labels, as well as multinational music publishing division, global merchandise, and direct-to-consumer businesses. They have 100 children record companies under them, UMG? Jesus Christ. The worldwide Virgin Music Label services, short and long form, audio divisional or audio visual production, and a variety of other businesses, each with its own CEO, president, and its own management structure. Collectively, these businesses issue tens of thousands of releases and product each month. My focus is on developing and implementing the global strategy that will shape UMG for generations to come. In light of this responsibility, the proposition that I am in the weeds as to the release of the promotion of any particular sound recording from the thousands of UMG releases throughout the world is, I'm just gonna say, is bullshit. And that makes sense. We said that when we was covering Drake's side of it, right? Like, what do we expect here? Like, to find text messages of Lucian Grange texting Kendrick, say, "Hey, you know what you should do? You should use the angle of the minors." Like, you think he was in the studio while Kendrick was writing it? And what Drake's side seemed to be going off of, they put it in their paperwork, was the fact that Lucian Grange was at the Grammys high-fiving and celebrating the winning of Kendrick's award. And yeah, you want to know what it took for even Lucian Grange to get there? God knows what he was involved in, where he was, caught a private flight from God knows where and stopped, scheduled, put that on the calendar. I got to be at the Grammys. Okay, but as far as Kendrick, and if Lucian is up here and Drake is down here, then he's also clouds and clouds above Kendrick as well, because Drake is technically a bigger artist overall than Kendrick, right? I don't know about what people would say for certain categories over the last 12 months. I know Kendrick is out there breaking a bunch of records and all this type of shit, even in Canada. But when we looked up how much Kendrick Lamar was worth last year, it was less than 200 million. And I said, that's not even half of what Drake's last deal with UMG allegedly was for 400, right? So who thinks that Lucian Grange is stepping down from where he is and all the stuff that he's doing to interact with Kendrick about his artistry or his raps or the way they're going to, I don't see it. I don't see it. All right. Given my role, I am accustomed and unfortunately largely resigned to personal attacks, and further recognize that a frequent strategy of UMG's litigation opponents is to attempt to waste UMG's time and resources with discovery of the sort that Drake is seeking here. So UMG does have a couple active lawsuits, right? Is one going on still with Limp Bizkit? You got the one with Salt and Pepper. We broke down a bunch of their lawsuits, and I said, I'm not going to call them angels by far. It's record labels, music industry. Everybody claims that these motherfuckers is getting fucked over, right? But at the same time, if you're dealing with that much money, you're dealing with all these different types of artists. I can relate in battle rap. If I'm booking throughout the year 150 different battle rappers or 100 different battle rappers, whatever, right? I'll just create a number. You think I'm not going to have any issues, disagreements, problems, negotiation problems, whatever, with not even 5 of them? Because I'm sitting in a chair. I'm not saying I'm Lucian with it, but I'm sitting in a chair where you're looking at me to do everything that you want done for you. You want help. You want priority. You want the best. You want the most. You want this opponent. I've gotten into it with battle rappers simply because they feel like they should have been on back-to-back cards. Yo, man, I won my last battle. Why I'm not on this next card? I'm like, yo, like, I'm getting some other people. I'm doing some. First of all, I really don't even have to answer this shit. I run RBE and you're a private contractor. You know what I'm saying? You're not even signed to me like I'm Lucian and you're Drake. So we don't even have that reliability on each other. But despite the fact that you can go work for this UMG, that UMG, that UMG, and that UMG, You will still, I literally still have had battle rappers have beef with me because how come I'm not on this third card straight? How come I wasn't on the last? I had a clown ass league owner try to do that one time on Max Out. He's just being the clown that he was born to be, and he said some stupid shit out in public on social media, like, "How come this person ain't on his card?" First of all, do your own card, dickhead. I know you can't afford shit, but do you? Why the fuck you worry about how I construct my card? How come this person isn't on this card? Where's this battle rapper? Where's that battle rapper? Get off my dick. I don't owe them anything. I fuck with as many people as possible, and we try to create magic as most as possible. Other than that, I'm one fucking person, one fucking league, and I got this one card right here that I'm doing every fucking 3 months, maybe. Get off my dick. And I could see it. Now multiply that by 1 million, and now you got Lucian. Because he works with more children companies than I work with battlers per year. They said there's like 100 fucking children companies underneath him, let alone all the employees and artists tied to all. What? Man, I hope he got 20 layers between him and the artists, or else he would have been committed suicide. If I see what I see, how it is when you respond, when people think you're responsible for all of their lives and their turnouts of their career. Now, it would be if I was signing out to a certain type of contract, then yeah, I gotta take some type of responsibility, but I don't sign you out to that shit. So I never did. Given my role, I'm accustomed to, okay, so we just saw that piece. But given Drake's motion, I would like to make it quite clear that I had never heard the recording, not like us, nor ever saw the corresponding cover art or music video until after they were released by Interscope Records. Okay. As part of my role, I certainly have financial oversight of and responsibility for UMG's global businesses. The proportion that I was involved in, much less responsible for reviewing and approving the content of Not Like Us, its cover art or music video, or for determining or directing the promotion of those materials is groundless and indeed ridiculous. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. Executed on August 14, 2025 in Monterey, California. Signed, Sir Lucian Grange. The industry is full of fucking lies, but for some reason, I believe that. It just makes sense. It just meant that's not no team UMG or team Dre. I don't give a fuck who wins this shit. But it just makes sense. Like, and I've been in that seat and seen that type of behavior at a very, very small, much small fractional capacity. So I get it. It's real, it's realistic as fuck. Like, you really think that this guy had anything to do with the cover art, the song, or the video? You know what I'm saying? He's not supposed to. And then of course he puts it, he signs it in relation to perjury. So you find any text messages or proof that he had any involvement in knowing of this stuff before he's put in there on record prior to the release of it, then you're in trouble. And whatever he faces from perjury standpoint, it'd be that in court. So, all right, let's go to this next piece now. That was Lucian himself. Let's take a look now from the UMG legal standpoint. The lawyers coming out to play as well as it pertains to Drake's very, very broad stroke and discovery. All right. Dear Judge Vargas, Drake's second letter motion seeks to compel the production of documents responding to certain requests for production. Drake seeks whatever that is, production of Kendrick Lamar's full recording contract, document showing the value of Lamar's recording catalog since January 2020, Interscope's monthly revenues and profits over the same period, and Interscope CEO John Janik's executive compensation for the last 5 years. Now, when we saw this initially months ago, I said the reason why I could understand it from Drake's side is because you want to find a trend. Well, not only do you want to see the money, because later on you might even be able to show what you believe percentage-wise based on the artists and the stats that you have within UMG, maybe what percentages or monies or damages that maybe you're entitled to, right? Because remember, a battle rapper, 9 times out of 10, let's say has a pay-per-view deal, so 99% of the time, they don't know my pay-per-view numbers. They don't know my YouTube monthly check. They don't know my VOD. They don't know how much money I made at the bar, the door, none of that stuff. Merchandise of lease, sell merchandise. They don't know those things. They have agreed upon upfront money. So Drake doesn't know behind the scenes money. He just knows that I got my alleged $400 million from UMG. Let me go work within that contract, and then we'll be back later on. So seeing this stuff could help him later on, definitely. Definitely. But what was more logical as it pertains to this whole defamation suit was a trend showing that you guys had incentive. Okay. Meaning that I see that involving me and pushing this Kendrick shit with bots or whatever, with anything with malice, spiked you 70%. And also the bonuses, that you all you CEOs and board members get, it spiked you guys 70%. Now I'm showing motive now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to prove that somebody would rob a bank for a penny, right? But if there's millions of dollars in the fucking, then you establish a motive. Like, all right, this person, there's $1 million in there. Oh, and we also see back home he's got an eviction notice on his door. Motive. So that's why I thought this type of shit was relevant. But there's the UMG side, like, get out of here. What are we even talking about 2024? Why? For what? All right. As with this motion concerning Lucian Grange, this motion is nothing but an obvious attempt to misuse the discovery process to pursue irrelevant and overbroad requests, principally calculated to harass, embarrass, and annoy Drake's perceived adversaries. This includes Kendrick Lamar, who is plainly the real target of Drake's anger. Interscope Records, Interscope, the label that distributes Lamar's recordings, Interscope CEO John Janik, and UMG more broadly. I mean, Drake, a lot of people is just like, he's suing UMG. Kendrick's the one that wrote it. But you go after the money. And that's another thing that we broke down when we saw the numbers. How much is Kendrick worth, and what's Drake's deal worth, and what's he possibly going for? And we did those ranges. We did that black and white number shit. And it made logical sense as far as your target. A battle rapper disrespects this league or whatever. The leagues want to get into it because they feel like they're the ones with the money, right? Or you're the one that hosted it, or you're the one that benefits the most, right? But the person that lied to you or robbed you or whatever, like, that's the battle rapper. The battle rappers never get sued, right? In this case right here, Drake and Kendrick both fucking got it, but Kendrick don't have what Drake is looking for, dollar for dollar. That's clear black and white. We broke that down. We saw those metrics. And then I think there's that element of, if Drake sues Kendrick directly, his image as a rapper, he's got to go full, I'm only here for the women and pop and Hey Delilah, that's it. Or you can't do anything else for your general hip hop core fan base. You just can't. You just fucking can't. Yeah, I mean, you snitch type shit. But can't really sue Kendrick. Will Kendrick be brought in at some point during this? I still feel like there's a 50-50 chance that he gets subpoenaed for some type of information. I don't know if he would get sued, but I think that he's going to be legally brought in at some point. They may have to bring him in. And I think that UMG might bring him in also. You just never know. Look at what they just said above. They're saying Kendrick is his clear target. I can reword that. I could say, you're not supposed to be suing UMG. You're supposed to be suing Drake. Right? And so now you're using me to get discovery on your real target. No, go get it from Kendrick. I'm just saying. All right. Drake's relevance arguments for this invasive and overbroad request are unfounded. While broad discovery is available under Rule 26 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, it is not without its limits. All right, reasonably calculated to lead to discovery of admissible evidence. They're giving references of other cases, etc. Okay. Request 11 and 12. Drake seeks Interscope CEO John Janik's private and highly confidential compensation details going back to 2021. 4 years before Not Like Us. I hear you. If I'm UMG, I'm fighting that shit too. Like, why do you need? I'm not giving you this. I don't show me directly court. I need the judge to tell me, no, I agree with Drake's side of how they're arguing. This is going to be tied to this overall defamation suit. I'm not doing it. Yet Drake makes no attempt to explain how his intrusive request for 5 years worth of individual compensation records is conceivably relevant or proportional to this case, which censors the release and promotion of a single track and music video in 2024. And there you have it right there. You guys are failing there, Drake's legal team. Where's the logic? I'm sitting here just trying to create logic for us trying to interpret when we look at this paperwork, right? I said logically, I can understand if you're trying to prove a trend or maybe for damages later on, considering you're going to say that I'm a big percentage or the biggest artist underneath this whole umbrella. Those are the two reasons. But as it goes for this defamation suit, lay out to the judge and to the court why you need this stuff, why it's relevant. If you're not explaining it and you're just requesting it, then UMG is going to keep coming back and saying, no, I have a problem with you asking for this shit. What is it? Has nothing to do with nothing. We're here arguing over rent money that you owe me, and you want to know how much I pay for my car. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? That's some A-verb shit. Like, I really gotta stop that. I do. None of which even attempts to link Mr. Janik's compensation to any decision to release Not Like Us in particular fail miserably. Well, then again, the incentives. So I could see it if a judge was really not sure and being fair there. You know what I would say? I would say maybe I don't need to see dollar for dollar, but how about the incentive structure, i.e., is it documented that shows, for example, Mr. Janik gets a 30% Christmas bonus if they can promote a song that does 1 billion streams, right? I'm just making something up. And then you got Super Gold with Kendrick versus Drake, two biggest rappers out, top 3 right now, right? Along with J. Cole is what was being argued at the time, right? And then they go against each other in a long-running feud that was already building up. You got, calling it gold is underselling. You got super duper platinum there. So if I can see and prove that you guys already have a pre-established, huge, clear incentive, can I use that as an angle? Yeah, you can. But Drake's only explanation for seeking Mr. Janik's compensation details is that Mr. Janik was incentivized, there you have it, to promote Lamar's music because as CEO of Interscope, his bonus is based, there you have it, in part of Interscope's financial performance. But then again, UMG could turn around and say, that's what all of our artists, right? I'm incentivized by the whole structure. I don't know. If Drake is going to be able to pick his out and say, no, I know you did this for us particularly. How do you prove that? Because I'm incentivized by 50 people, 100 people. I don't know. All right. Instead, Drake manufactures the basis for such a motive out of thin air, speculating that because UMG CEO encourages competitive between its record label divisions, UMG's compensation structure must be a zero-sum game that pitted Lamar's label against Drake's label. You give me more details about that, I'm going to say that's motive and incentive. I want to read more about that. The proposition that Mr. Janik or any other corporate executive running a division of a large business is partly compensated based on the performance of that division is entirely unremarkable. Okay, so they're already answering to the structure right there. Drake is not entitled to discovery into UMG's most sensitive and highly guarded records, which are not public anywhere. Allegedly, a lot of people say that was one of the reasons for URLs and Noab settling, because it got to a point where Caffeine's data, metrics, numbers, whatever, would be made public, allegedly. And just think about it. There's reasons for, even in a competitive space, to just keep that type of stuff private. Mercedes doesn't want BMW to know how much they made last year, how much they spent on marketing dollars last year, how much they lost last year, what they invest in tires in the last 5 years. I don't want my competitors. You could use this type of information to overthrow me, to hurt me, to beat me, to diminish my sales, diminish my rank, my spot in the market. Like, you just don't want that type of stuff out there. It's not a pocket watching thing, because if you're running, all we got to do is just fucking Google how much is UMG worth And what did it come up like a couple hundred billion or so, like 200? I forget, some stupid ass number, right? So if it's worth, like, let's just make up the number, 50 billion. You want me to think that Lucian Grange is only getting 50,000 a year? Like, we don't got a pocket watch. We already know he's a billionaire. All right, you know that. That's just clear cut logic based on what he sits above all these companies and all this type of shit that feeds funnels up to him. Okay, so it's not a pocket watch thing. I need to know what these exact numbers. How you got to paint the picture clear. Drake's legal team. You got to. 12 runs even more afield of any relevance claim. Drake seeks Interscope's 2024 executive incentive metrics, targets, projections, and performance used to determine annual incentive compensation. Interscope executives and officers. Drake offers no basis for this request beyond the meritless age arguments about Mr. Janik. That is not surprisingly, as his complaint make no allegations about the compensation of any other Interscope executive. Can't single him out then, right, Drake? You gotta go for all of them, right? Because everybody over there within these incentives can have motive, right? So why just this Janet guy in Grange? Okay. Request 29 and 30 seeks all documents from January 2020 to present relating to any instruction, direction, or suggestion that any song or music video over which UMG has contractual rights or control of any kind be censored, modified, or altered, or not licensed, published, or promoted based on the content of the song or video. 30 seeks the same with respect to any music by rapper Pusha T, he's in there, including particularly the story of Adidan, a different diss track from a separate feud that attacks Drake. That's a sensible request from Drake's side, though. I would want that. I would definitely want that. The censorship stuff or whatever, because if I have record of me complaining about Not Like Us and my crib and the cover art if I'm complaining about it and there's censorship rules as well as scenarios where you followed those guidelines but you didn't follow them for Not Like Us, I'm going to use that as an angle. Okay. Number 29 is grossly overbroad and unduly burdensome. UMG has a catalog of more than 220 artists and brands, 3.2 million recordings. The idea that it should review records for every single song and music video that it exercised contractual rights or control over for the last 5 years to respond to this request, which sweeps as broad as seeking documents related to even the suggestion of modification, is absurd and unworkable. Yeah. Even in my discovery process, and when I had my lawsuit, my shit with RBE and URL, it was like my lawyers got so much discovery from URL that they came to me and they said they wanted to. It's like they give me a heads up of additional charges. Like, we're going to use a certain type of software to go through all of this paperwork, these documents and shit. And I was like, yeah, do what you got to do. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'd rather have more information than, you know what I'm saying? And in our situation, we were given things that we didn't even request, as per what I was told. I didn't get to see. There were certain things I couldn't see. Maybe a lot of things I couldn't see. But as long as my lawyer has it, I'm in the right spot. And it's just how things go. Sometimes that could even be attacked. I'm not saying now RB and URL. That could also be attacked too. You give somebody too much shit, your side has to go on this fishing expedition to figure this out. It's like you ask somebody for a cup of water and you dump the sea on them. It's like, oh shit, here you go swim. Good luck. Especially if I know that whole sea doesn't have some of the stuff you're looking for. You're spending money going through all that shit. You're spending time and cycles just walking down the wrong word the wrong row or lane in a maze. So could be tactical shit. You just never know. But no, I feel like Drake really, really wants all this shit, and he's gonna try to find things that help him in this. Request 31 and 33. Drake makes only a passing attempt to justify RFP, which is irrelevant, invasive, and entirely overbroad. Drake purports to need documents showing 5.5 years of Interscope's monthly revenue and profits to be able to compare the financial impact of Not Like Us. The notion that Drake could isolate the impact of Not Like Us from Interscope's top line financials is nonsensical, as any number of events in previous half decade account for shifting revenues and profits. That's a good clap back. Don't be so full of yourself, buddy. I know you use the Michael Jack out here, numbers wise, and all that, Drake, but we got a lot going on, that can constitute our revenue at any given point in the year. Yeah, you could be included in it, but we can't just pull you out and identify something exactly. Like it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Drake's explanation for RFP number 33 is equally nonsensical. He states that he needs the valuation of Lamar's recording catalog for the last 5.5 years to support his theory that UMG was incentivized to promote Not Like Us, not only to profit in the near term, but also to heavily monetize in the future. You knew that you had gold with Not Like Us and Kendrick like that. That would be a hell of a time machine or a crystal ball if UMG owned one of those. Drake makes no attempt to explain why discovery on the historical value of Lamar's recording catalog has any relevance to his claim that UMG tried to convince Lamar to re-sign with UMG, or how that relates to Not Like Us. It does not. Lamar's contract. Drake's RFP number 1 seeks any contracts between UMG and Lamar reflecting UMG's right to approve, reject, refuse to publish, edit, amend, alter, or veto the publications of Lamar's song or videos. The parties agree that UMG would produce any portions of his contract with Lamar reflecting such rights and redact the remainder. At Drake's request, UMG also agreed to leave the contract section headings unredacted. UMG did just that. Drake, nonetheless, now moves for an unredacted copy of Lamar's contract. So they did give Lamar's contract then. They just covered up a bunch of stuff. They have it. Okay. This appears to be another instance of Drake seeking discovery based on his grudges. We know that Drake is petty. He's on a tour right now wearing these cryptic jackets and whatnot, right? With the messages on the back. We see it. You need information that's going to show you something about ABC. I gave that to you. That same document just also happened to have XYZ in it. And I feel XYZ is not relevant to what I just gave you. And now you want me to uncover what XYZ says in the contract? Nah, man. You covered up the part where it says how much he made in 2023. I want to know that shit. Because Drake will fucking rap about it. While I was making 100 mil, you was making 100 grand. So, turns out you might stand. Like, he would rap about this shit. And if I'm Kendrick and Kendrick's legal team, I'm pushing UMG to take this approach, even though I got to assume that UMG would have full rights to disclose or not. I don't know. Then again, what's in Kendrick's contract? I don't know, but there's legal superseding things as well, right? Like, we're in a lawsuit. Like, Kendrick, our agreement to have confidentiality is not bound to if I'm getting sued. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, interesting. All right. Drake cannot explain why the rest of the contract is relevant. He contends that redactions deprive him of context, but the portions of the contract bearing on UMG's right to refuse, reject, or otherwise edit Lamar's music, videos, or accompanying artwork have been produced and are entirely intelligible. Okay. That's going to just remain an argument then. Drake also argues that the existence of the attorney's eyes only designation in the party's protective order abrogates any otherwise justified withholding or redaction of documents, including confidential proprietary business information. I don't like that, because that's the example that I just gave with RB and URL. I said there's a lot of things that I couldn't see, but what did I just say? I said, but my lawyer has it, so I'm cool. Because he's going to come to me with the right advice without telling me the things that he's not supposed to tell me. It's just like, I know that we got to go this route, but I can't tell you the exact number that's there for this. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with that because I don't have any motives towards knowing how much you made from this event in this particular scenario. So your attorneys have some of the AEO stuff that is going to help you complement your claims. But Drake wants to know some of this stuff himself. And that the attorney to Drake thing is they could lose their license if they turn around and say, listen, Drake, I just want to let you know, they paid Kendrick $2 million in 2023. If that goes public, if any of that comes out, them lawyers can get in trouble. Drake can get, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, no, I want to be able to see this stuff that's marked attorney's eyes only as well. Drake himself, or know about some of that stuff. He wants to rap about it. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, y'all, he wants to fucking rap about it. All right. That's it with the Drake update. That's a lot. We already 50 minutes in. We still got a ton more to go over. People, like I said, we catching up from missing the last 2 days while I was away. But this is now the second or the third time where we've seen very, very strong clapbacks. UMG won the coin toss, B. They're going second. Drake comes with his shit, and then UMG says, wait a minute, it's my turn. I got a response to this. It's going to be a very messy continued battle between these parties, man. Very messy. Mm-hmm. Very, very messy. What's good, chat? How we doing? Everybody good? Everybody all right? All right, let's move on to Lil Yachty. And my man Chat, Steven Chat. Hold on. All right, let's go here. So, Lil Yachty does a song on Playboy Max's stream, and in it he has the lyrics, "Put my knee up on her neck, I went George Floyd." That's the Lil Yachty lyric, right? Now, if you remember, around the times of the George Floyd scenario, Steven Jackson was very frontline at protests, at marches. He was online. He's close to the family. This isn't just no left field somebody just coming at Lil Yachty and just butting in. And people still deserve the right to butt in because this could be interpreted as very offensive for many different people. Imagine this. Let's keep it 1,000. Imagine if Lil Yachty was white. If Lil Yachty was white, this would be, you get away with it to a degree. You still gonna get backlash from the family and people that feel away like what the fuck you talking about? But if you was white, this would be a headline. Every media and news platform would pick it up, right? But anyway, Steven Jackson definitely had the right to feel whatever he felt based on his connection to George Floyd, the family. Well, let's check out his response though.
Man, I'm so out the way, man, trying to mind my business. Y'all see the type of big shit we got going on and shit we doing, man. I'm making changes in my life. I'm doing the right thing. I'm winning. I'm just trying not to pay attention to you idiots, man. But it's just hard, bro. Lil Yachty, bro. You've been whack, my nigga. But you think you saying George Floyd name and trying to use his name in the bar that's gonna make people like your whack ass music, my nigga? That shit weak. Y'all the only era that feel like demeaning the dead and saying that shit is cool, my nigga. It ain't. And it's me and the whole third ward and the whole Houston, Texas riding behind G, man. Don't ever say his name, bro. None of y'all knew G. Nothing about him. But y'all want to say his name for clout. Put his knee up on his neck. That's some weak ass shit, Yachty. But let somebody die in your family. We gonna do a whole skit about it and see how funny it is, bro. Cut that shit out, man. It's only you whack Sambo ass niggas that do shit like that. Stop the man.
Okay. Should I bring this guy into the equation just from a podcast standpoint, not from a relevance of where I'm going to go reacting to this, but just from a podcast standpoint? Let's bring him in. What was Charleston White's reaction to this?
I just want to tell Steven Jackson, I said, fuck George Floyd and this baby, nigga. Bitch won't say nothing to me, bitch ass nigga. George Floyd was a dope fiend, nigga. He a long, Blue Isle Center looking dope fiend, nigga. He died of a fentanyl overdose. Fuck George Floyd. And I've been saying it since he died, nigga. Matter of fact, I'm re-releasing my album, dissing George Floyd. And I dare one you nigga come die behind it. Nigga was alive, couldn't even borrow $20 from you, bitch ass nigga. I hate you, Steven Jackson. You a pussy anyway, nigga.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, okay. Let me not play all of him right now. Um, the up to date though is Lil Yachty and Steven Jackson spoke behind the scenes. Okay, and this is Steve Jack talking about that conversation.
Hey, what up, bro? I took my post down about Lil Yachty, man, because, I'm emotional about George. I apologize to him. You know what I'm saying? We spoke, and he apologized as well. I told him it don't make no sense to make no public apology. Me and him spoke. You know what I'm saying? He understood, and he understands the outrage. Yachty's a smart individual. That's why he's been so successful. You know what I'm saying? I said some things because I just don't get how people can demean dead people. I don't know when that became cool. I never do that. We never do that. And we need to start bringing some integrity back into everything we say, bro. We don't need to demean dead people. Nobody. So if anybody lost somebody, my condolences go to y'all, man. Shout out to Lil Yachty for reaching out. We talked about it. He understood, you know what I'm saying, what was said, and it went right. I salute him. A lot of people don't like to own up to when they fuck up. I'm somebody that always own up to all my fuck ups, man. So I apologize to him and shout out to Lil Yachty for understanding our frustration. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Cool, 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 cool. So I will say this. For Steve Jack to apologize there as well, he wouldn't have had to unless there wasn't one key thing that he did in his video. Right? He did Lil Yachty's music. Other than that, he wouldn't have had to apologize. And I'm glad that Lil Yachty was still able to set it straight behind the scenes, despite that little diss that was thrown in there. Because you know what happens? People be in the wrong, and then when they get addressed about it, they get addressed in ways that also make them defensive, or actually allow them to have a different lane out. You know what I'm saying? Because you got ignorant people in the world that somebody address you and be like, yo, you rapping on George Floyd like that offends a lot of people. And don't nobody want to hear that whack ass music anyway. And then somebody goes, the response to that is like, oh, you just a hater talking about my music and how I'm more successful. You start to go in a whole different argument instead of us focusing on the comment about George Floyd. And sometimes people will try to, even as suckers, use that type of out. Like, no, we're really supposed to be talking about George Floyd, but I said this other thing, and now you're just trying to stay on that topic. No. And I'm glad that Lil Yachty didn't use that. That's the only reason why Steven Jackson would have had, I guess, wanted to apologize, is because he inserted something that had nothing to do with the protection of George Floyd, saying your whack ass music anyway. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not a big fan of Lil Yachty's music, but that really is supposed to be irrelevant. Now, here's the thing. Steven Jack, once again, he had the right to come out and say this. And I like to see the OGs and some of the elders and some of we older folk be able to try to address things like this for some of them youngins out there, because you think some of these bars is cool. Now, you don't have the scapegoat of not knowing about George Floyd's situation, because the actual lyric that you rapped, I put my knee up on her. So it's not even like an endearing type of bar. So obviously you know about George Floyd and the situation at hand based on what you wrote, okay? But it's not even something endearing like, I wish they would have got up off me like George Floyd. People won't necessarily be offended like that, or about a ball like that. But you talk about fucking some chick. I put my knee up on her. Y'all should have seen when I put my leg up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you insert that bar with a George Floyd punchline. Like, no, that's not the place to use it. You know what I'm saying? You got the George Floyd situation, and you got the Charleston Whites of the world that is say, and Kanye's of the world too, that come out, and Candace Owens, now I think about it, and make documentaries and say this is why he really died, or it was drugs, or what was he out there doing? Was he breaking any laws and all this type of stuff? Look, man, regardless of where you stand, right? If you got a George Floyd situation, if you got a Rodney King situation, if you got a Trayvon Martin situation, and Trayvon Martin Zimmerman wasn't even a cop, but it was an authority figure, right? It was a security guard, some shit, right? But it's just the established, well embedded in American history issues, misunderstandings, many times mistreatment, treatment, extreme reactions between white authority and black men, women as well, but a majority black men, right? That's the history of this country. Period. Period. So a black man shouldn't even want to write that ball, regardless of how you feel about George Floyd, or like somebody will argue you to death with a lot of points probably about Rodney King and saying he did this, he had just ran over people or he attacked the police or whatever. Like, you'll hear that shit. Look at the scene in American History X, right? When they're at the dinner table, classic scene. But anyway, Rodney, like you could have faults in some of these situations. Somebody might say, "What was he doing wearing a hood?" What? What was he doing with the Skittles anyway at that time? What? Like, somebody could always argue both sides of this shit. You know what I'm saying? But we black folks are very sensitive to these outcomes because it's attached to our history. So as a black man, Little Yachty, you have no business writing that shit. But he did the right thing. So there's no need for me to overlay on what he did. You know what I'm saying? Because for him to apologize and say, y'all, whatever, clean that up, that was dope. And I didn't see, that part that we just played from Steven Jack, the apologies exchanging. I didn't see that until right before I cut the stream on. I saw the other shit like yesterday, whatever. And I really was in my mind, was like, oh, nah. Yeah, you should just drop a public apology and keep it moving. Simple. I shouldn't have wrote that about George Floyd. It is a sensitive situation. I do have condolences and sympathy towards his situation, as well as the family and the friends. And I shouldn't have wrote that. I'll take that back. I apologize and keep it moving. But to see that they already did exchange, so I'm not even gonna belabor this shit. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. All right. Julio Foolio. It's always crazy when we see these alleged demons or alleged shooters and killers, and then we follow, the alleged killers, right? Like, look at the Mo3 situation that's unfolding right now, and same thing right here with Julio's alleged shooters. And then we see in these alleged co-defendants and whatnot, what their angles are trying to fight for their innocence. And it's just never going to be easy to have sympathy for either side, because I know there's a lot of people right now that want to see justice for Julio Foolio, right? But at the same time, I don't have a connection to either side. So I don't have that it hit close for me when, you know what I'm saying? As far as like, I'm Julio Foolio's brother and I want to see justice. So I just look at Julio Foolio and I'd be like, they're getting their side of it, the two outcomes that we always talk about, jail or grave, right? So they're getting jail. It seems like it's shaping up towards. And you are a guy that we don't think was an angel. We think that you shot shit and did shit. And I mean, I just got to say, you're a fake nigga. That was the thing I said about Little Dirk is one of them, right? It's like when you guys get mad at us for Queso is another one. You can't get mad at us for believing what you show us and what you tell us. If you rap that you's a shooter, you's a real nigga, you's a killer, and if I actually believe it, don't ask me to turn off my logic and turn around now that you're in court and say, I believe he's innocent. No, you convinced me that you're a demon. You convinced me. King Von, you convinced me. Little Dirk has convinced me. I'm not saying that he's guilty of this shit right here that he's currently facing, but Little Dirk over his years has already convinced me that he's a real street nigga and has been involved in shit. Whatever it is. King Von convinced me. FBG Duck convinced me. Queso convinced me. Julio Foolio convinced me. Young and Ace, you convinced me. I believe the shit that there's shit that y'all are rapping about. That's very true. I was never convinced by 6ix9ine. But you motherfuckers, I'm convinced. So you're not a studio gangster. You're a real nigga, as what you're putting out there, right? You saw that 1090 Jake take where he was like saying that King Von isn't the things that he rapped about. He would if he was alive, he would be offended by it. He would want to fight you. Imagine King Von was around and I was some big podcaster, and once a week I was always tearing at King Von's lyrics saying that's fake. He ain't really like that. He ain't no shooter. Would King Von be happy that I'm trying to alleviate him from criminal activity, or would he be mad at me like, yo, you trying to say I'm fake? I don't got the 5 bodies I always joke about and all that type of shit? He'd be mad at me. He would. He would respond to that. So the contradictions, we always got to be careful of, people. But anyway, a lot of focus on the girl co-defendant right now, right? A lot of focus on her. So she tried to, or her and her lawyer tried to move in a self-defense angle of domestic abuse that her and one of the other alleged shooters were involved in, because she's the girlfriend of one of them, right? And they tore that shit up.
A co-defendant, and that's what that case law, that Florida State Supreme Court case law cites to you. It doesn't matter how afraid or scared you may be of one of your co-defendants. In fact, that Cole case is a woman who was charged along with a male co-defendant of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Duress is never going to be an excuse if you're fearful of your own life to take another's life. And so that is the point. The jury shouldn't be able to hear any sort of issues that she does have with a co-defendant, because that defense is not available to her for first-degree premeditated murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree premeditated murder.
And I agree with what the state is saying as it relates to a duress defense and a duress instruction. We're not asking for duress instruction, and we're not putting this in for the purpose of proving a duress defense.
Well, then what in the world would it be relevant to? That's the thing I don't understand the relevancy then. Because if you're not arguing defense, what does it matter if her co-defendant committed domestic violence against her? So why is that relevant?
I'll proffer at least one fact in this case. So in this case, the state will put on evidence that Alicia Andrews gave Isaiah Chance, her cell phone, so that either he could conceal his identity or that she could help him commit the crime in this case. And the past incidents of domestic violence, I'll proffer to the court, is that situations where Alicia Andrews was forced to give her phone over to Isaiah Chance, was beat, was dragged, sometimes even sort of like kidnapped in his home for not giving up her phone and for texting other individuals on her phone, right? And so in this case, where the state is saying, hey, she gave up her phone willingly, she gave up her phone for the purpose of planning this, or helping to plan this murder, it's not the case. Her intent for doing that, her motive for doing that is completely different, right? And it's the past, the domestic violence and the past facts that I just brought to the court that would shed light on why she's in a position where she feels that she has to give up her phone or can't leave and turn around and go another way, because she's been abused by this individual in the past. And likely, if she doesn't comply with what he's saying, the same thing could happen to her in this situation. So,
well, wouldn't she have to testify for any of that to come in?
She would.
For a co-defendant, and that's what that
nigga said, she would have to testify. I ain't gonna lie, man. Her lawyer that was representing the defense right there, he didn't seem the most confident, man. Like, come on, man, put some more bass in your voice there. Talk a little bit more. I don't know. How much money are we expecting to be going into these legal defenses for these particular folks? They're not coming with fucking Brian Steele or nothing. Like, come on. I get it now. So if the prosecution's main evidence and main angle towards her is the first degree murder with conspiracy, right? Conspiracy, you conspired, you planned. This is premeditated. This isn't we bumped into each other, it went up, you lost your life, and I won, or whatever. No, premeditated. We are heading over there to do this. So the coordination of it, those are all co-conspirators. Okay. So if the boyfriend is texting one of the other shooters, allegedly, right, and it happens to be her phone, she's automatically involved. It's no different than the getaway driver, not the one that's in the bank robbing the money, not the one that shot the crib up and then ran out. The getaway driver is part of it. You help pull this off, whether it's putting it together, premeditating it, being the driver, whatever. So her defense there is no, my phone was involved in some of these coordinated text messages or efforts. And by the way, that within itself to me is like, these guys are cooked. Because if we're now arguing about whose phone was used to set the murder up, then we're already talking about the murder and the people involved being substantially proven out, I guess, right? So they're cooked, if you ask me. But the defense is saying, I don't got nothing to do with no text messages that went back and forth, even though it was my phone, right? And the only reason it happened from my phone, and I gave the person my phone to text whatever they was texting, I don't know, is because I got beat up over my phone in the past. You saw he said other prior relations, like he tried to basically talk about like some cheating or whatever. Like, let me go through your fucking phone and see who's sliding through your DMs. I found some shit in your fucking phone and I beat you up for it. There was a domestic dispute about this shit or whatever. And I'm using that from last year to say, this is why she just handed over her phone so he could text, yo, meet me at 8 o'clock. He's there at the hotel right now. That's pretty much the breakdown there. And so they're cooked. The judge obviously wasn't too appealed by it either. It was like, what's the relevance here? You know what I'm saying? And then he tried to give his response to it. We'll see how that turns out. But I also see this here related. And I need these clips to stop giving so much credit off the bat until we see more of the trial happen and or the documents, or we get to the next steps. Because this shit right here, female in Julio Foolio case, Alicia Andrews was offered 18 years to snitch on her co-defendants. The court revealed this week she denied the offer. Okay, so I see a bunch of headlines going around. Oh, she's sturdy. Oh, she's holding it down. Why didn't Queso's father do some shit like that? You know what I'm saying? I see a bunch of these fucking headlines. And don't give people that type of credit that fast. Here's two reasons why. Number one, it's very, very possible that she is willing to turn coat on her boyfriend, allegedly, or some of the other members in the shooting. Why? Because look at that defense that her fucking lawyer just argued for her. As far as those text messages, I didn't send them. I don't got nothing to do with them. He beat me up before, and that's why I passed him the phone so he could text the setup. So that to me is already leaning in the direction. If I'm protecting the person that I'm with or my co-defendant, I don't bring any of that shit up. I don't bring none of that to the fucking table. We got to figure out just how to fight these text messages, period. I'm not going to try to put the ownership of who's sending in why on somebody else. So to me, she's already turned on her boyfriend there. Okay. And how about this? Here's the second reason. Just because she declined the 18-year deal, that doesn't, she's not a snitch. What if she just wants to try to get out scot-free? Right? Maybe she just wants to go to trial. It doesn't have to be that I'm standing up for the guy that I was just trying to turn on about the phone and the text messages. It could be simply like they offered me 18 years. I'm looking at myself in a cell right now and I can't see myself being here for fucking 18 years. I want to take my chances at trial. Simple. So everybody slow down with all this. Oh, she's so sturdy or whatever. She kind of already showed that she ain't. Okay? So, all right. That's the Julio Foolio update. We'll continue to keep an eye on that, though. Next up, Diddy. Did he do it? A lot of them jurors said no. All the jurors. Here's an update in his civil suit that was filed by ex-Making of the Band member, the girl Sarah. Judge dismisses all 22 counts in Sarah Rivers' lawsuit against Diddy. Stop for a second. I did a stream. It was either earlier this week or last week that said Diddy's revenge tour, didn't I? Now him and his sidekick, they beat a quick case, and there's some. He's got a bunch of things that's been falling in his favor. And fast forward, here goes another one. Now this one had a little bit of profile because we know her. You know what I'm saying? This isn't some random Jane Doe with some faceless girl that we never seen or heard about before. So the Dawn Rashads of the world, the Little Rods of the world, the Sarahs of the world, they're going to be a little bit more profile because we know these accusers, right? We see them on TV together. We've seen their relationship in front of us publicly. But Diddy just scored a major legal win regarding the 60. She had 60 in. $60 million lawsuit filed by his former artist Sarah Rivers of making the band or of the band. Court documents show Judge Rakoff dismissed all 22 counts. And if there was any other making of the band members that have been watching this shit and they've been seeing how the trial, anything's gonna play out, whatever, seeing Sarah take this loss right here, like, I'm good. Because you got people like Chopper, who's already publicly in interviews, I think on Vlad or whatever, saying like, I never seen nothing crazy between Diddy and Sarah. Actually, we all knew that Sarah was cheating on her husband at the time with Diddy. Diddy would come down 1 o'clock in the morning, grab her. They would go away for a couple hours and she would come back downstairs with her hair done. I'm still going to say allegedly, but this is somebody that was in the house with them, Chopper, right? That was publicly saying these things. Remember, her and Chopper had a back and forth because she was like, nigga, why you ain't sticking up for me? Why are you saying these things publicly? She, you fucking on my lawsuit here. If you didn't, whether you knew or not, I'm going to turn around and break you off a piece of this. Nigga, shut up. She didn't say that, allegedly. I'm just saying. Right? So those type of allegations, I don't know. But the Cassie thing, his indictment, Sarah comes with 60 million. I'd be having an issue with timing, right? People, we always do, like the timing of it, the timing. All right. Sarah versus all of this shit. What the fuck? All these Sean Combs aliases, all the way down to Brother Love. And all these other people and Bad Boy, oh my goodness, Paramount Global. She went for MTV Production, Jack Viacom, Town Square, Media Group, John and Jane Doe's 1 through 50 and 1 through 10. Her team, it wasn't okay. Before the court are 6 motions to dismiss filed, various defendants in the action. The motions seek dismissal of all 22 causes of action that plaintiff Sarah Rivers asserts in her complaint, arising chiefly from events that occurred more than 20 years ago. If you would have asked me, I would have probably, I lost time for a second right here as I'm going through this. 20 years ago, I just said I have a problem with timing. Cassie did what? He's got allegations of what? You know what? Let me come walk up in here. 60 million for me too. Looks like the time. 20 years ago. I'll never understand that shit. Never. But to dismiss with or without prejudice count 15, which is asserted only against defendant Sean Combs and asserts that he violated the New York City Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act, is hereby stayed pending the judgment of the United States Court Appeals for the Second Circuit as to whether a recent amendment of the GMVPA reviving certain claims is preempted by New York's Adult Survivors Act. An opinion setting forth the reasons for these decisions will issue in due course. Meanwhile, the clerk of court is directed to close the motions at docket entries 130, 132, yada, 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 all those counts. So it sounds there like she might be appealing already, which is expected, right? Or which can be expected. But as far as this initial claim, I don't know. Looks like a wrap for you, shorty. I was never too comfortable with it to begin with. I didn't like what Chopper was saying online. He didn't seem to have an agenda against her. He was like, hey, Sarah, I love you. But you know what I'm saying? He seemed respectful in her direction, but he's like, I'm just keeping it 1,000. I ain't seen that shit. And everybody knew that them two was fucking, allegedly. I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't like her when we read it. I didn't like the way the claim read. I don't like it being 20 years later. Another big win for Diddy, and it becomes public because, like I said earlier, these are the ones that have a little bit more gravity in the public eye because the other side of it is somebody that we know. Another win. All right, let's go to Rick Ross. Okay, a judge has reportedly denied Rick Ross's baby mama Tia Kemp request to increase child support payments. Kemp was seeking a dramatic increase from $2,800 to $20,000 per month for their son, William Robert III. The judge reportedly responded with a firm "get a job," suggesting the request was unreasonable. Hold on, I gotta take the biggest screen for this one. Now, I'll tell you why I love this. I ain't just your average guy hating on a woman trying to get her child support. I'm not, you know, it ain't coming from that energy. It's coming from how much I despise her. There's a couple people on the internet that I watch or I see or I scroll through every once in a while. And anytime I see them, almost anytime I see them, I don't like them. Okay. Charleston White, I watch him for entertainment. I admit, keep 1,000, but I don't like him. All right. Kanye West, I don't like him at all. Almost anything that comes across my table from Kanye West, unless it's good music, pisses me off somehow. I just don't like him as a person. Her, I've never seen a single clip, a video, headline, anything involving Rick Ross's baby mother that made her appealing, make me like her, I dislike every moment that I see her. Real shit. Real shit. It's like one of those things like, yo, how did you even deal with a woman like this long enough to have a child? Like, did the child come like right away? Like, you know, or was you with this person for a while? Her mouth is way too fucking big. Way too fucking big. And the reason why I really, really like this is because you're not just some mother out there that wants an increase in your child support for whatever reasons that you deem beneficial, logical, or maybe even it could be helpful. Like, me and your son, like, we just need it. You know what I'm saying? Or we want to have a better school system for him. What that's not what I'm seeing anytime she's online. 98% of what I see from her, of her entire internet existence, has been tearing Rick Ross down. Now, you don't have to want to be with somebody. You don't have to want to be their girlfriend or their wife anymore. You could say fuck that person from a distance, but the man is worth a couple $100 million. The man is a grind. The man gets to it. The man is a earner. The man is an entrepreneur. The man is your ticket. And he still is the father of your child. But the more that he earns, the better that he does out there. Shouldn't that be more beneficial to me, even if we're not together, or more beneficial to my son? I think that if we woke up to a headline right now that says Rick Ross just lost his entire empire, his house burned down, all his assets are done, his record labels dropped him, whatever, he's finished, she would be the first online celebrating. So if you spend your, I'd never even heard Rick Ross even address this loudmouth chick. I never even heard him say anything in her direction. He might be scared of her. He might be like, yo, that's what I could go back and forth with 50 for years, but I can't say nothing to this fucking bitch because it's just too fucking much for her. Like, real shit. Show me a time where he addressed her. I've never seen it. He addressed anything else. Drake, 50, he won't address her. So if you're going to spend your whole internet career tearing me down in any imaginable way, shitting on me, telling my business, devaluing me, defaming me, lying on me, or telling the truth on me allegedly, whatever it is, and then you want the money that I'm earning, though. The same money you're doing everything in your effort to help me lose? Oh no, fuck her. Just hate me from a distance. We're not together, or move on. Your boyfriend, what? Why you keep tearing me down like this? And then you want the money, though. It's counterproductive. Don't make no fucking sense. I'd rather look at her and be like, she's the quieter person in his direction. She's like, yeah, go get that money. You landed what deal? Okay, now I could go to the judge and say, can I get a small increase for my son? I mean, shit. He just signed $100 million, right? Now, to a degree, that's semi-extortion. Chill out, Gabrielle is the niggas of the world, allegedly. But it just is counterproductive as shit, and it don't make no fucking sense. And she enjoys doing it too much. So I despise her, and I don't want to see her catch any W's. I just don't. I just don't like the way she carries herself. And the thing is, she can't turn it off. She's born like that. That's in her. You could see that she can't turn that. I feel like she would accidentally talk to the judge the same way she talks online about Rick Ross. I don't think she could turn it off. It's her personality is just toxic as shit. Ugh, who wants her? That's crazy to want to be with her. Who wants to be with her? The only reason somebody want to fuck her right now is just that's the groupie level of I fucked Rick Ross's BM groupie shit. Ill. Y'all got it. Allegedly for everything. I'm just reporting the news. All right. Next up, what do we got? Where we going? Okay. T Hood update. So when I started the stream and we were going through the intro, I said some of these T Hood updates and stuff that's coming out is doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all. Now I'm still gonna use the allegedly's because you don't know what incident this is from. This could have been a fight with another woman. You just don't know. But disturbing video emerges of T Hood assaulting K amid ongoing death investigation. All right, so we got some marks here. Warning: the following images may be disturbing to some viewers. Please scroll with caution. I think there's one in here that I can't, I don't want to show. So I'm gonna stop short probably. But your son putting his hands on me. Can you have someone send an Uber for his belongings? He's not going to be able to come back here anymore. And I would like to Uber the stuff to y'all while he's on the way. Somebody replies, okay, thanks. That is a very, very, even those two words, that's a very big acknowledgement. That's not a, what do you mean? What's going on? What happened? No, he wouldn't do that. Just, okay, thanks. No problem. Thanks again for everything. Hey, I'm not fond of anybody breaking my belongings or nothing. He's rude, pushing me, slamming my doors, trying to pop my car tires, ripping my cameras out the wall. Nobody is helping me when it comes to him being domestic. Definitely written like you're trying to keep records. So another reason why this other person was probably short in their answer, but that's still acknowledgement. Okay, thanks. And the cameras in her wall, he's saying that he would rip out. It's bugged out because that's now going to move into, because I saw the footage and we're going to play it in a second. And I was looking at it like, y'all be having cameras like that? And like, I don't got cameras in certain places where I just want to have a level of privacy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like certain places, I don't know. Just, everybody lives different. Some people got cameras throughout their entire interior of the house. Other people like having cameras pointed towards entries, exits, where maybe valuables are. Like, oh, this is my closet where my jewelry is, so I could watch the fucking cleaning guy come in and leave out holding the whole fucking box of jewelry. You know, like it's just like I don't know. Anyway, all right, this is another angle of it. This one, I think the next one is like too gory to put up, so I'm not going to go to that one. But let's go to this TMZ article. This is where it's just like, buddy, that's not going to look good for you going forward, and we'll explain why in a second. All right, T Hood caught on video beating GF Kelsey. Frost allegedly hit her night he was killed. Allegedly. Let's take a look at the video. So they're both on their phones, maybe arguing about, they're both talking to each other, arguing about something. Oh, pause. He lunges at her. She ends up on the ground next to him. I can't play all of this just in case. I'm not sure. Especially being that is DV. So I'm not sure, people. I gotta be careful. But lunge, pause it. You know, a little bit happens after that. She ends up on the floor. You know, go to TMZ to see the whole footage. I will say this about the footage now. Big impact on how the world will feel, how each families may feel, and you never even know about how the courts feel. I mean, I don't think this really helps the alleged shooter. I think that's going to be looked at like, was it justified for you to come over there under any scenario and shoot somebody. And if for nothing else, they're going to say, if you got a phone call or a text message about some domestic violence, you're not supposed to go over there with your gun and allegedly confront this person or allegedly shoot this person. You're supposed to call the police, right? They're going to uphold the law, because if they let you get off because, oh, we see video that you beat the girl, or you guys had this toxic relationship, we saw pictures, we believe all of this is all proven, okay, we got the footage now, and the night in question, this person was really coming allegedly to defend the girl, and he ended up killing the person. They're not going to let that get off, because even if you do, then you encourage people being vigilantes. You can't, the government will just never encourage people being vigilantes. There's a million people that'll watch him get off, allegedly, right, and say, oh, word, okay, cool. They'll reference it the same way we see lawyers reference old cases. People in the street will reference it. Oh, I just got a phone call that my niece just got hit. I could go over there and shoot this guy because when it happened with T Hood, the shooter got off because it was proven that my niece was getting hit on. No, the government can't encourage that. No way. They want you to say, maybe the person allegedly deserved it or didn't deserve it. Doesn't matter. That's what we have 911 and these cops over here for. It's what they want, right? So let me add this. Think about in the case with Diddy. Before that footage came out, nobody ever thought that Diddy, especially in Hollywood or in the industry, nobody thought Diddy was an angel, right? Diddy's already been accused of enough shit, and there's probably enough people talking behind the scenes, fans. There's a lot already surrounding his name over the years. He still had a good marketable image though, right? When that Cassie footage dropped, it's so game changing, because even if people believed the stuff that was in the lawsuit, when you see the video, that removes all doubt, that removes any of his fans to be able to say, nah, I can't see that, or maybe that. It just makes everything so crystal clear and black and white. It turns the whole world against you. You know what I'm saying? Even people that were sticking up for you, it makes them say, oh, I got to fall back. Oh, I can't. It's right there now. You can't avoid that. So there's videos like this coming out, especially with headlines that say allegedly things happen like this, or this was from the night in question, either or, allegedly. Even the arguments between the families, it changes. Not going to justify the shooting from a law standpoint, a legal standpoint, but this video is not good, man. I ain't going to do too much. Still feels like a very, very sensitive situation, but all right. Let me lighten things up a little bit. Let's look at something funny, man. And this coming from a rapper. Mad Skills posted this. So this is a clip of our friend Fat Joe again on his shit. And Mad Skills puts up the caption. Nah, this is crazy because Joe been saying that for so long. He forgot it wasn't his. Cats will bite-ish and try to write you right out of history. And the whole time they sitting on the same podcast with you. Nasty work right here. All right, let's see what's going on.
One of the greatest lyrics from you that I loved was at that time when you said, what's everybody so mad at the Southpaw? Switch up your style, switch to Southpaw. I was thinking about that today. That was me. And he borrowed me. Jada, I was listening. That was my original.
Nah, we got to bring it back again. Joe's response. He's so capped these days. I don't know what's up with him, man. Yo, that nigga really was about to jump all the way into the mode of that. Like, yo, I was just thinking today about what made me write such a classic bar. And Jada cut it. Did you see Jada's face? That was me. Just analyze when Joe starts to answer and then Jay cutting in real quick. Or Jada cutting in. This is, what the fuck?
I was thinking about that today. That was me. And he borrowed. Jada, I was listening. That was my original. That's my love.
It's my shit.
Google it.
Yo, Jay,
Go to
Jada,
Charlie. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Hold on.
It's my line.
I followed you, bro.
Everybody so mad at the Southpaw. Learn how to switch your style up and go Southpaw.
Yo, Jada,
You
let me
need
tell
to
you
say
something.
it, but you open your mouth for. Better reason for me to just open your scalp more. Ooh, man, that's me, man. Let's not get this. I mean, we ain't got all timers.
No, but I gave
And
you
then
that.
you do
I
it.
gave you that shout out
No, yeah.
on a super smash hit record.
Yeah.
But
That's his vision who came from Thug It Out, then he threw it on making doing on the
once again, the crossover.
Just tell-
Let me explain something to you, right? The point I was making, right, is at that time, everybody borrowed.
No, I didn't. I'm just making sure he gotta know where it came from.
Yeah, he might have set me up with that shit.
No, I swear to God, you the only person that I heard say that.
That nigga just say he might have set me up right there. Hilarious, B. Hilarious. All right. Yeah, I ain't gonna spend no time on that. Fuck it. Fat Joe's been getting hit a little bit on this channel, so I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna leave it light right there today. All right, shout out to Joe, man. Shout out to Joe. Keep the shit coming though. It's entertaining at this point. Fuck it. Just leave the sensitive stuff alone, right? Like Big and Pac and everything. All that shit though, I'll laugh at all day long. Fuck it. I'm here for it. All right, let's go back to a little bit more drama. All right. Damn. So we've been watching this dispute between Finesse 2 Times and his mother online. She put up a GoFundMe. The GoFundMe was only set at like $6,000. I was just like, I don't know how she thinks she's gonna move, relocate, put out on a security deposit, get on her feet, do all this. That's $6,000. It may not even get you into a place, to be honest. Somebody want 2-3 months security deposit, is a wrap. That $6,000 ain't going nowhere. But anyway, she puts that GoFundMe up, and then we saw her start doing a couple, posts, airing out some of her grievances with her son Finesse 2 Times. He did this, he did that. He don't help me, don't take care of me. He wastes all his money on jewelry, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And his response, it was what, a freestyle? I was just like, I watched his response, and I was him rapping a cappella, and I was just like, all right, whatever. I tried to chalk it as maybe there's a bunch of things about their relationship that just ain't public. I ain't going there. It is what it is. Maybe you could still try to help your moms out a little bit, especially if you got it like that. I don't know how much money Finesse 2 Times got. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't be knowing if the jewelry be real and all this type of stuff. You just never know these days. But I feel like he makes enough money to maybe help his mother a little. I don't know. But maybe they have such a bad relationship where he fell back. So I try to be fair. But this right here, look at this caption. Oh, wow. Hustle Cartel paid Finesse 2 Times mom eviction after she posted her GoFundMe. Now he's paying Finesse. Now he's saying Finesse is banned from Mississippi. The streets are talking, and Hustle Cartel just made the headlines for all the right reasons. Word is he pulled up with a whole $6,000 to wipe out Finesse 2 Times eviction notice. That's not just a payment. That's a statement. I'll take it a step further. That's beef. So I don't know the beef and the backstory between Finesse 2 Times and Hustle Cartel. So I pulled up on the side. What did I find? I pulled up pretty much Finesse 2 Times versus Hustle Cartel. It says Hustle Cartel launched a scathing lyrical attack on Finesse 2 Times in their remix, I Can't Stop the Hustle, accusing him of drug use and alleging he's been evicted and is now living with his mom. The diss has escalated tensions, challenging Finesse to publicly respond. So that was in the past. All right, physical confrontations and tension escalate. Outside a venue, an altercation erupted when Hustle Cartel and Lil King confronted Finesse 2 Times outside a comedy club. His girlfriend stepped in, boldly clearing, "You ain't touching him," as the situation intensified, and a weapon was allegedly brandished. From either side, who knows? Past issues between these guys. All right, Charleston White involved himself somehow online, tried to set up a boxing fight. Okay. The Little King versus Mentor fallout. Okay, so FNG King, also known as Lil King, we mentioned that little kid on stream the other day, right? Once mentored by Finesse 2 Times, has publicly retaliated with a diss track clip where he accuses him of being broke and dependent on his mom. The clip revived their tense relationship rooted in a bitter custody dispute and disagreements over how King was being managed and represented. Okay. Legal drama and public fallout, probation violation and custody dispute. Finesse faced allegations tied to a probation violation and a confrontation involving Lil King's guardian in Texas. However, the charges, including for alleged threats, were dismissed by a judge due to insufficient evidence. Finesse's public return in bold move, Finesse posted a cryptic video with the caption, "I'll be back," hinting at returning to court defensively. But these legal issues were ultimately resolved in his favor. So in summary, this hustle cartel and Finesse 2 Times, they into it. They got issues. Running up on each other and all types of stuff. Like that type of stuff could have been deadly that night, right? Somebody could have got hurt that night. All this, okay. And then so I guess people, y'all might know some of this beef more than I do, chat. But this looks like they ops. For your op to come and drop a $6,000 GoFundMe on your mama who's facing eviction, that is kind of beef. That's well, they're already into it, but that's you crossing a line there. Now, some people could say they don't agree with how Finesse maybe not helping his moms. We saw 50 Cent post, man, call your mother, whatever, right? Some people may not agree with it because that's your mom's. That's your mom's. And if somebody comes along and says, I got 6 bands for you, it's like, all right, thank you. But to overstep not just the son, but also the son who happens to be your enemy / your op, that's purposeful. that's fucking purpose. Like if I know you my op and you don't fucking take care of your daughter, and I send her a Father's Day gift, like, what am I'm trying to say something. You know what I'm saying? You cross the line like that. But it's like a good thing that this woman got help, but it's that's some shit. I know y'all get my point. That's some shit. And when it comes to Finesse 2 Times, that looks very, very bad. That looks bad that another man who happens to be your enemy steps in and gives your mother $6,000. That looks bad. That's very bad for your image, your reputation. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Finesse 2 Times fan anyway. I think he could rap. I think he got some good rap ability, but I'm not the biggest fan of him anyway. So I don't know. Is this starting to unravel him as an artist? Is he unraveling right now? Is his career unraveling? Is there a bunch of stuff? I don't know too much about what's going on with him lately these days. Even other branches around Yo Gotti, I'm seeing there's things going on. What's the name? Youngster, whatever, just stepped away from Yo Gotti too, right? And then had the big shootout footage that just came out. That's a lot going on under that. They say certain people they think is in hiding right now. A lot of that related to Young Dolph. There's a lot going on, man. And if that whole umbrella is folding and coming down, and between the high stakes of that beef and the pressure that they got, and then all this, and Finesse 2 Times, you got your own ops and this going on with your mom. It just don't look good, man. People from a reputation standpoint, if they're not already big artists, they don't survive stuff like this for the long run. Don't be surprised if Finesse 2 Times a year and a half from now isn't on the scene. It's gone. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not wishing it on a man, no, but all right. Next up in some court news. This caught me off guard until I went and did a little bit more research behind it, because I was like, wait, what? OTF Doodie Low awarded over $1 million in special damages in defamation lawsuit against FTN Bay. Right? So we look at OTF and Doodie Low as a street nigga, and I was just like, when did he have a defamation lawsuit for over $1 million? Like, what is this? OTF rapper Doodie Low shot and robbed in Atlanta, what we know. So we saw that. That was the last time I believe he made headlines that I saw. But a defamation lawsuit. So what I did was I pulled up in the background FTN Bay and Doodie Low. I didn't even know who FTN Bay was. I was like, what? Okay, so it actually makes sense for him to file something like this. Initial allegations and lawsuit filings. In October 2021, FTN Bay, aka Brittany Elder, publicly accused her ex, Doodie Low, of SAing her 5-year-old son. We're done. That's why this nigga sued. It's no different than Fat Joe. Fat Joe had to. This guy was running around saying, yo, you did this, you did that, boom, boom, boom. I did little girls. I know what you did last summer. Fat Joe said, I got to put in a lawsuit. Okay? Because y'all know how I feel about involving authorities in anything that you partake in, not just street shit. If you partake in something and then you go to any form of an authority, you are a fucking rat. So when I saw this and I know who FTN Bay was and me knowing the reputation of Doodie Low, I said, did he go to the courts for some shit that maybe he shouldn't have? Because I didn't know who FTN Bay was. And to find out, oh, this is your ex-girlfriend who's allegedly telling people that you SA'd her 5-year-old son. So not only a child, not only is it SA accusations, it's a 5-year-old child. That's 2. And then if you want to even count them strikes, the third one is it's a boy. And it don't make it any better if it's a fucking girl, but that it's just like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? Like, are you the devil in disguise? Like, you need to be put under the jail or worse too. But she alleged he I can't read that part. Sharing audio clips of her son crying as evidence. I can't even read this part. Inserted what into the child? Nah, I ain't reading that. Doodie Low immediately denied the allegations and filed a $5 million defamation lawsuit against her, citing emotional distress. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to get in front. That type of accusation. Remember that stream we did was like 2 weeks ago? All the people in Hollywood that have ever had those type of claims or allegations on them that we possibly still fuck with. And I went through like 20 different artists and celebrities and actors and shit. Now, if you're Doodie Low, you can't even let this circulate just as like an argument, right? Even within your team and your friends and family. Like your best friend is probably gonna give you benefit of the doubt and walk up and be like, yo, you saw this shit that your ex is posting? Yeah, man, yo, she's crazy. Oh, yeah, you're right. I got you. I believe you. I'm gonna give you benefit of the doubt. All right, cool. You gave me an explanation, right? But this type of allegation is so nasty. You got to go to the legal level for it. Like, you really just told people that I did this to your 5-year-old son? Yeah, you got no choice. You got no fucking choice. That's crazy. What? If he wins, that means that further clears his reputation, right? Because she would have been able to, I guess, come with proof that he did it. So good for him. Because you need to be banned from the world if that ever came out to be true. Damn. All right. Shout out to checks and balances on this one too. I grabbed this one a couple days ago. Wack 100. He does a lot and says a lot of corny, ridiculous, buffoonery shit. He's entertaining. But this one right here, I had to give him some points for. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I felt like this was a good message to put out there. Let people see it. We try to cover the good and the bad over here.
What? You know Wack? Wack 100? Yeah. That's my homeboy. We both from Pacoima. We grew up together. So he told me, y'all do business. Get up out of here.
Show love. Other than that, he been fucked over.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
We need that. Because if that would have been Robert Winkle,
he been
Sir
fucked
Step
up.
Out.
Yeah.
Now we reading about Mac on the social media.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So if it start wrong, it's gonna end wrong, and I may catch some flack from this. To my Damus, to my Keyways, my Power Rules, my Grooves. Listen, this thing started for a positive reason. It shifted to a negative behind the leadership of most people that had a 5th grade mentality. Most people who didn't even understand what escrow was, a credit score was, who didn't understand, right, that there was a real world, who was using fear and manipulation to dominate our own people. And it's been over 4-5 decades that we continue to practice these ways. Listen, bro.
This nigga cooking.
At some time, we got to stop and realize the blind is leading the blind. We following the lead of somebody who has lost himself. We follow the lead of somebody who can't even fucking read and write. So we follow the lead of somebody who's getting the goddamn satisfaction of saying, you do this, you do that, because over the years, people have fabricated and made up stories about who this man was when really he got high when he was 19, shot a motherfucker in the liquor store and caught life and came in here and sat on the yard, and you really don't have a resume to have the right rank and respect that they're giving you. But because of all bullshit and buffoonery, this is what we giving them. So at some point, we got to say, you won't fit us no more, because the route you guiding us is going to lead us to a hellhole. What? You know Wack? Wack 100? Yeah. That's my...
Respect. Respect, man. Get a man his credit for that. A lot of shit he does, that's fuck shit, but that was dope. That was dope. Many of us in this chat know many gang members or whatever, and we always pray that they stay out of trouble. You know, everybody has their reasons for their affiliations or their involvement or their banging. Some people grow over time, they grow out of it. Some people put their flags down. Some people just become OGs and they just move away from that real strong connection to the street, but they still are who they are, you know, whatever. And Wack is old enough to say the type of shit that he just said, considering how many gang members he's probably been around or involved with or crossed paths with over the years. So I think that was a dope message. And if people don't pick up messages like that early enough, you can become this type of person, right? Did y'all see this clip? Bugged out for some, but this is the reality.
What stopped you from crashing out?
Who said I didn't crash out?
Oh, okay.
You feel me? Who said maybe
anything could happen?
I don't know, bro. Yeah. You feel me? But all I'm gonna say is, I played that game before, and I liked it. You feel me? Allegedly, I liked it, and I see why 6-0s say what we say. You feel me? And because at the end of the day, we know that it's nothing solid about this, bro. Like, what the it's a curse. It's a up life, bro. Like, if you want to live it, go ahead, do it, bro. Like, I done did it. I'm still doing it. I hate it. I'm not gonna lie, fool. Like, it's nothing like curse, jail, like fuck, fool. Like, who doesn't want to be free? Like you got these that say they love this shit. Yeah, ooh, I love this. Ooh. Like, do you really though? Do you really?
Mm-hmm. What stopped you from crashing out?
Now, you saw in that last clip when we played Wack 100, notice that one of the points that he made, he said, you following somebody that didn't even have a 5th grade reading level, right? And you're going to cross paths with a lot of gang members that are like, they got a lot of stain and they still in their 20s. And they already got teenage and little kids looking up to them, calling them big homie. And their big homies be like in their 20s and shit. You know, here is one that I believe him. I believe he's a reputable guy. You don't got all them S's tattooed on your face. You're not gonna be able to move around like that unless you got some type of claim to the street, right? But when Wack says things about like some people don't even have the 5th grade reading level and people are following them, this man wasn't even smart enough to use his allegedly correctly. You know, they're talking about the saying like you got to kill a 60 to be a 60, right? So he's talking about that. And look at how he used the word allegedly. He said, I know they're talking about, you know, when I maybe I did crash out. Maybe you know what I'm saying? He didn't say allegedly with that. He put the allegedly on allegedly I liked it. So the only counter to that is like, now you're going to try to talk about or prove whether you allegedly, I just use it properly for him. Allegedly, if you killed a 60 or killed a human being, right? But the only thing that you're trying to change with your alleged is whether you liked the situation or the outcome or doing the act, or whether you didn't like doing the act. You didn't even use the allegedly in the right place. It's insane. It's insane, man. And I say that you know, because of how much I think life is precious, I don't really. This is very rare. Can I justify me rocking with somebody that has taken a life? You know, it's got to be some self defense shit. You know what I'm saying? So I already am against what he's standing for in this moment. But I also listen to him have a small piece of sympathy. Like, motherfuckers getting trapped in this shit and coming up in this shit, and there's nothing for you. You don't get to see anything of what life could give you. I've started some of these streams playing, like, what was it? Was it earlier this week or last week? I started a stream going over Anthony Davis's like $40 million crib that was up for sale. And I said, look at this crib, y'all. Like, look, and we just a little quick topic. That's how we started the stream. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather look at shit like that. Like, some of these people that don't interest them. All they see is death and destruction and the 5-block radius that they from. You got people that have never left their neighborhood. You got people that have never left their city. You got people that have never left their state. You got people that have never left their coast. I say all the time, like, that was one of my life revelations. The first time I left the country, and to see a different culture and see people talking in a different language and see people that had 500 times less than what I had, like kids running up on us while we doing a 4-wheeler excursion through the villages, thinking that we just having a good old time, and the kids is running down on us for any, like, giving them a one chip out of a bat. They'll chase you down on your 4-wheelers. You might think you under attack, the little local village kids and everything. It's like when we renting the 4-wheelers, they got all this like little candy and potato chips and shit, and it's not for you. It's not like, oh, here's a snack area. They're like, you might want to buy this. And it hurts me to fucking say it. It's like, you know how you could go to like a petting zoo. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you could like buy the fucking food to like throw into the tank or feed the fish or some shit like that. Like, there was a section where we was renting our 4-wheeler. Like, Tate, you know what I'm talking about? You with me? And it's like, no, you might want to grab some of this stuff because the little kids are gonna be running up on y'all, and you gonna want to give them something. And I was like, all right, whatever. And when you get to them sections, like, you see how people live, but it changes you. It makes you appreciate shit more. It makes you more worldly. And sometimes people never even get the opportunity to see past their fucking neighborhood, to see anything. And the biggest thing that you ever get to see is you on the No Jumper podcast that might just be up there just using you. And if Adam 22 put some money in your pocket, then whatever. But it's wild, man. It's wild. I ain't trying to have a moment like that. I don't want to drag y'all down. It's Saturday. It's sad though in certain occasions, man. Like, even his mannerisms, how he's sitting in this whole interview. I might go back and watch the whole interview later. Well, he's got a bunch of clips going around. All right. I felt like bringing this on the stream because we did speak about Karl Malone recently. Actually, he made a thumbnail within the last week or two, right? All right. This is the son that made it to the NFL, I believe. So let's see what he's saying about the recent backlash that his father been getting online about the young girl, getting the young girl pregnant.
He made a mistake, but at the end of the day, he's still a great dad. I mean, my dad's just a country boy. I mean, he still has a damn flip phone. So me as one of his sons and seeing all this stuff said about him on Twitter, I just wanted to step up. All that stuff that people say about him just takes away from what a great player he was. He made a mistake, but at the end of the day, he's still a great dad. I mean, my dad's just a country.
It opens up the question now. I don't really. If this guy would have came out, if the son comes out and says he's disgusting, he wasn't there, he left my mother, he did this to my young mother, and then here I am, you know what I'm saying? It would have been much worse. But this guy obviously developed a relationship with Karl Malone at some point in life, and then he also goes on to make the NFL and be successful. So he doesn't have that chip on his shoulder, it seems, and that's the best outcome. You know, if you're coming from a situation that's looked at like, oh, that's wrong, or that's not good. You know, this is one of the best outcomes. He turns on to be successful, doesn't have the chip on his shoulder, still has a relationship with his father. If he's past, you know, what he did or whatever, cool. But then it still makes us ask the question, even from a lighter side, can we look at these people differently from their legacy based on their past actions? And when I gave that some thought this morning, I thought to myself, I said, how we know you changes that greatly. Now, let me compare like a rapper to a sports figure, okay? What do I know about a drill rapper or Little Dirk, right? I'll use Little Dirk. When we follow our rappers as entertainment, we know who their girlfriend is. Depending on who it is, you might, or the shows you watch, you might know who their side chick is. You might know the names of their kids. You might know where they at this week on from social media. You know their breakups to makeups. You might get invested in a whole Cardi B and Offset storyline of what they got going on. You might be following Kanye Kim's situation with their daughter, and we introduce ourselves into rappers' lives that makes it interpersonal. It makes us damn near hurt when we find something out, good or bad, right? For me personally, it's never been like that with sports players. I don't be knowing nothing about some of my favorite sports players. What do I know about Michael Jordan? He plays a lot of golf. He's a gambler. He likes cigars. That's all I know about him from his private life, really. That's the only thing that comes to mind. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Allen Iverson, my favorite basketball player of all time. I don't know his wife. I don't know his kids' names. I don't know where he lives, what state he lives in, what city he lives in. I couldn't tell you none of that shit. I don't know if he just went through a breakup or divorce. I couldn't tell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it's just me, but I don't know. It's just, I've never followed sports players the way that rappers put out their private shit. And I think rappers are different because what they do outside of the booth is also part of their success. The image, like, so Rick Ross getting on his Instagram every day and talking shit or showing this or showing that, it's all part of it. Whereas Michael Jordan, all I need to do is be on his court and dominate, and I have everything I want. I don't need to show you my Instagram or any of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to tell you that I just went through a divorce, or, you know what I mean? That's my only excuse as far as how I've always followed sports players. So, said that, I had to give that, because if I just would have gave you my answer to what this young man just said without context, some of y'all might be mad at me. So now, said that, when it comes to Karl Malone, I could almost follow in the footsteps, being that the son is taking that position. If the son wasn't taking that position, I might feel a little bit weirder, or worse, I should say. But because the son is feeling like that, it makes me say, all right, if you ain't shooting, I ain't really shooting. I will never justify what Karl Malone did. But the real question is, would me take away from Karl Malone's legacy? And I never really knew nothing about him. You know what I mean? Like, I was meeting this guy for the first time right here. Couldn't tell you what he looked like or his name or none of that shit. I'm going to say Karl Malone's legacy is already in the Hall of Fame. I'm okay. But if you ever ask me about Karl Malone off the court, I'm going to tell you a different story. All right? Now, what I just said definitely would not apply to a rapper. If Jay-Z would have got convicted of that shit alongside Diddy, you would not see me up here on the stream anymore calling him my GOAT. For me, it's just different when it comes to like how I look at the sports entertainers and how I interact with them versus how I interact with and follow like rappers and musicians. You know what I'm saying? It's just different. Anyway. All right. If that even makes sense to y'all. I got two more for y'all. Where was I at? Was I under a rock? I didn't know that Metro Boomin was fighting this. Metro Boomin going to trial after RK settlement talks collapse. Got the settlement. Some things went back and forth, didn't work out, and now she's continuing the case. Her and her lawyers continue the case forward. Whoever this woman is, Metro Boomin is going to trial after an RK settlement talks collapse. Metro Boomin will face a civil R trial later this year after settlement talks between the producer and an accuser, Vanessa, or they got a name here, fell apart. The case is now scheduled to begin on September 23rd, 2025. This girl, Vanessa, 2024 lawsuit accuses Metro born Leland Wayne of SAing and impregnating her in 2016. She claims she blacked out after taking Xanax and drinking alcohol in his studio during a recording session, later waking up in a different location to find him assaulting her while she was completely unable to move or make a sound. Metro has denied the allegations with his legal team, calling the lawsuit a pure shakedown. Court filings reviewed by Billboard on August 11th revealed the two sides participated in mediation in July with a retired judge and continued limited settlement discussions, which have proven unsuccessful. That was what happened with Shannon Sharpe and that girl, right? They had outside of court just mediation with a retired judge, didn't work. Or actually, Gabriella allegedly side was like, nah, we good. I'm gonna go link up with Tony Busby and we're gonna stop talking about this 10 million. We're about to go file this 50. You know, according to Shorty, she met Metro in Las Vegas that year, bonded over music after telling him about the death of her 9-month-old son, and later traveled to California to visit his studio. She says the alleged assault resulted in a pregnancy and abortion. The claims the incident is referenced in 2017 song Rap Save Me, performed by Offset, 21 Savage, and Quavo. The track contains lyrics, she took a Xanny, then she fainted, I'm from the gutter, ain't co-hanging. Whoa. From the gutter, rap save me, she drive me crazy, have my baby. Whoa. What's that? She took a Xanny, then she fainted, I'm from the gutter, ain't no co-hanging? Does that mean like co-parenting or fathering? Whoa, what's that lyric, Metro? Metro denies writing those lyrics and insists their encounter was consensual, further alleging she fabricated the story after taking whatever that is years later, whatever this is. These are false accusations, attorney Lawrence Hinkle said. Mr. Wayne refused to pay her months ago, and he refuses to pay her now. He will file a claim for malicious prosecution once he prevails. What? Whoa. Ooh. Yeah, nobody ever wants these type of claims on him, of course, right? But see, the first piece of that, there's gonna be, don't take this the wrong way, ladies, justifications, which is you popping drugs or pills or whatever and drinking and falling out. And then if you woke up in a different place, that doesn't mean that there was malice involved. Okay, I'm being real, I'm being honest. That first part, that doesn't mean that he did nothing wrong. I told y'all a story before of hanging out, did Club Caroline's in North End City. Shout out to E. And she had so much to drink that night, falling over, play boom, 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 boom. Took care of her. Put her in the shower, washed up because she's throwing up all over herself and everything like that. And because of the water, when she woke up in the morning, her hair was all curly. She said, what the fuck happened to my hair? I was like, put you in a bath, cleaned you up. What? And what happened last night? Didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So there are people that get drunk. I don't know what it is like when you guys do drugs, because I don't do drugs, but I definitely been around people when you drink, they don't remember what happened last night. They don't remember, you know? Now that second part though, the part where she says she couldn't move, that's the spooky part. You know, now once again, that's just an allegation, right? But I don't know, man, because you could have been in a consensual situation, but your memory isn't there because of the drugs and the alcohol. But on the other side, people do this type of stuff as well. The people are drunk, whatever, and you might think like you flew out here to my studio to see me. You all caught up in me, the celebrity producer and whatnot. You know what you flew in for. You know what I'm saying? So, or if we even had a sexual relationship in the past already, but I'm in the bed, you in the bed, and maybe he's thinking, you know, that she's fully there and she's not. And I don't know. I don't know, man. That becomes the gray area where it's just like, how do y'all both argue with those two sides? That's spooky, man. That's spooky. So I ain't taking no side in it at all. But you know, salute to them. We'll see what happens there. All right, last but not least, we covered him, Mr. McNeil. This was the closure. The officer involved in the violent arrest of William McNeil in Jacksonville will not face criminal charges. A Jacksonville, Florida sheriff's deputy seen on video striking the motorist in the face during an arrest that began with traffic stop will not face criminal charges in connection with the February 19th incident, prosecutors announced on Wednesday. So I have no problem with this. I gotta be real and I gotta be consistent. When we saw the first video, his footage, McNeil's footage, he caused the outrage, and rightfully so. A lot of people, including myself, we stood up for him and said, fuck these cops, get them off the force. Here goes another situation of y'all doing us wrong. Fuck y'all. Fuck them cops. I smashed the window, punch him in his face. Turns out that footage is a little convenient. When the second wave of footage came out, the officer's footage, the full footage of what McNeil was doing, he had like 7 different things that he did wrong where it's just like, yo, he's wilding. You know what I'm saying? Like the car, he's riding dirty. I'm gonna say allegedly, but allegedly riding dirty. You're supposed to have the lights on. It's murky outside. You didn't. The officer was mad respectful in the footage of when he's talking to you and your door is open, right? Then you slam the door on the officer. He tells you to get out. You don't get out. We pulled up. Jacksonville law says, don't think that the law is the same in every state. In Jacksonville, we pulled it up. By law, if that officer tells you to get out, you're supposed to get out. We be seeing these viral videos. No, I ain't moving. I don't got to get out. And where he lives, by law, he was supposed to get out. You know, and then he's sitting behind tents. It was a lot. They saying that he's moving around. Was there alleged knife? There was just a lot of things that we broke down in that video, and I had to keep it 1,000 and say, I'd rather teach the little kids out there to not do none of this shit that this guy was doing, because you are scaring the police, you are enraging the police, and you are literally breaking multiple laws as you get up to the point where they finally break through this fucking glass. So there's just a lot going on. So to hear that this was thrown out, gotta keep it 1,000, people. I'm not mad. That second piece of footage that came out from the officer's body cams, you looked crazy, McNeil, and you had a lot of infractions. I ain't teaching people to do what the fuck you did. No, it ain't the proper way to go about this shit. There's other ways we can protect ourselves out here on the roads with these cops, and it ain't doing none of that shit you did. None of it. All right. I knew we was gonna cross 2 hours today because, like I said, I was away for the last 2 days. I feel a little caught up. I know there's a bunch of other news that we could add in today. Maybe I'll add some of it to tomorrow. Checks and balances. I got y'all. Appreciate y'all. But let me come over to the supers. Let me see what's going on. At 9:17, Cap is here. He says ARP, mods, members, and chat. Y'all know the vibes. Hit that like button. Always building brick by brick. Do you believe? Am I the only league owner with a hashtag, or a saying, a calling? I don't know. I know up until like this year, there was another league that I heard it. We were the only league to ever have their name chanted by a crowd. You know, the whole chant, and it's happened so many times. It became like a RBE event thing for dope moments. But you got like Sharon versus Chef Trez. You got Mook versus Averb introduction. You got Daylight versus King Los. You got all these moments where the crowd RBE, and it's always been one of the dopest things if you're up there on that stage. Man, it's one of the dopest things that I could ever take away as a memory of running RBE, man. Like, that shit is incredible. But yeah, my do you believe? I can't escape that. I could walk past people in the mall and hear that. 9 times out of 10, somebody would just say ARP, right? 9 times out of 10. But there is those rare cases where occasionally I could be walking, somebody just goes, do you believe? And I'll just turn around smiling and be like, Are you clowning me, or are you like kind of like, oh, you being cool about it? Like, I'm not sure. I clown myself about it, so it's all good. Cap says, yeah, we got to keep getting those likes up. And that was at 9:23. He wasn't playing no games with y'all. Appreciate you, Cap. Cap dropping off another super here. Says, ARP, I got into the live 15 minutes after you were live. I just now 45 minutes in. I just got the live notification. Quarter Lab, we got to talk about that. Why my notifications went out 45 minutes late? Now, during the week when we're live at 6 o'clock, I normally open the stream up like 30 minutes before we go live. Even if I'm still situating the topics in the background or creating a thumbnail and all that type of shit, I still normally by like 5:30 have the stream open, at which point it should start being able to land on people's pages. I believe some notifications should go out as well. The thing about YouTube, though, you definitely don't, every single one of your subscribers doesn't get a notification. First of all, they don't even, they have to have them turned on, right? And I know you're saying this from a point of having them on, but the rolling effect of subscribers, I feel like I might get an answer to that, which is YouTube rolls your subscribers instead of whatever amount they're going to send out for that particular video that gets uploaded or that live that starts. If they roll it, then YouTube also has mechanisms to make sure that the video is just, or is like good. You know what I'm saying? It's like on Facebook. If I post a picture right now on Facebook, it won't let all my friends list see it. The more people that engage it, comment on it, or like the video, Facebook will then put that post of mine in front of more people on my friends list. That's how it works, you know. So they watch engagement, they watch that videos are correct and that they're good videos. You don't want to send a blast to a video that the live was started on accident, for example. Somebody just hit the live button, like that type of shit. YouTube has so much intelligence built, and it's evolving, and some of it can hurt us, and some of it can help us, right? But I feel like that might be one of the answers that I get, because I heard that one before. Either way, I'll still double check just in case. But during the week, as I said, I normally try to open up the stream 30 minutes early. So even if it's 45 minutes later, you get an alert, we're only 15 minutes into the live. You know, so, but the good thing about Monday through Friday is the people that are up early with us, whether they get the alert or not, they know 6 a.m. we on, you know? So the weekends is a little bit different because the times change on Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 8. Today it was like 9 a.m. So I don't know how I'm going to approach Saturday and Sunday. I got too much of a variable about Saturday and Sunday mornings where it's hard for me to set it the way I do Monday through Friday. So we'll continue to brick by brick it and figure it out. Everything. I got you, Cap. Between Rounds TV says, go see Weapons. That's a movie? Some new shit out now? What's that? Movie named, what is that? Weapons. What is that? Weapons is a 2025 American mystery horror film, directed, written, co-composed by Zach Kreger. The film stars Josh Bro. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up this guy. Oh, with the kids on the cover. I did see this. Is it on any apps right now? I'm not gonna be able to make it to the theater this weekend. Is it on any apps right now? I did see that cover. Where can I watch Weapons? Is it theaters only? Is it theaters only? Is Weapons streaming on any apps? Or is it theaters only? No, Weapons is currently available. It's theaters only right now. But eventually it's gonna go to Max. I don't know how tomorrow's gonna go. I got somewhere to be tomorrow too. I got somewhere to be today too. I'm going to a show this afternoon, early afternoon. I'll tell you about that, how that is tomorrow night. I mean tomorrow morning. I got some errands to run too. And tomorrow I got another event that I'm gonna go to. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the theater this weekend. You know, I'll be trying to stay up on good movies. Let me spot check you one more time between rounds, because I respect your opinions, but If I go to Rotten Tomato, let me see what it says. Let me see what Weapons is saying. Let me see. Because one of y'all sent me to go watch the last Jurassic Park from this fucking chat. And somebody owes me that. You can keep the money. I want my fucking time back from watching that garbage. Oh, Weapons got Shorty from Ozark? Oh. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 94. Popcorn Meter gives it 86. Oh, shit. I might have to go tomorrow. I might have to make that time. Good looking between rounds. I might have something I need to add on the schedule this weekend. Sassy says, no decorum. We was definitely getting at somebody when she writes this. What's up, Sassy? How you been? Good to see you. MSM gifted a membership at 1036. Oh, somebody caught that. Appreciate you, homie. We got Craig OG with one of my favorite defaults up here. Says, good morning, ARP. There's a rumor that Travis Hunter's wife has filed for divorce. See, the last coverage that we did of Travis Scott was like the whole internet warned you when she did the crime video. If that's making articles and if that's established, we'll bring it up on the stream. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. How long was they? I'll save it. I'll save it for tomorrow. Good looking, Craig. We told you, like. KX, salute, homie. Sent out a gift at 11 o'clock. Hope somebody caught that one as well. I appreciate you, G. He says, can't trust nobody still with a flip phone. Unless it's the new one. Guilty. He talked about Karl Malone when his son said he's old school. He still got a flip phone. If I could activate a beeper, I might. I don't know. Just for fun. I don't know. A flip phone? Would I carry a flip phone? I don't see it because the amount of apps and shit that I need access to, I need a screen to be able to swipe and push and type on. You can't give me no keys with 3 letters. You got to push the button 3 times to get to the letter. That's over. So if Karl Malone got one of those, I'm with you. Guilty. If that's what he got, I'm with you. But actually, let me say this. There was never any legal charges that he faced. So it's more so like we all know that it's true. Okay, I'll say that. Is what it is. Papa Cashmore, our member, gifted a membership as well around 11:18. That was 4 minutes ago. Hope somebody caught that. So it looks like 3 memberships went out today. Shout out to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. There's a couple of my mods I didn't see in here today. Everybody thinks I'm on vacation or something. I ain't on vacation. I had to go take care of some family business, y'all. But we back. All right. Happy Saturday. Happy weekend, everybody. Like I said, I got a show to watch today, so I'm gonna let y'all know how that show was that I'm going to. We got some more topics that I need to catch up on, and then we got some more updated shit. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow morning. I got y'all. In the meantime, y'all be safe today. All right. We out.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss making decisions, my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry Street Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.
Without my, they still got a gun.